Hello and welcome to our Sunday school today. This week we have two separate readings and they're both from the book of Jeremiah. The first one is from Jeremiah chapter 18 and verses 1 to 12, and you'll find this on page 722 of your TBS Sunday School Bibles. Our second reading is from Jeremiah chapter 46 and verses 1 to 10, and you'll find this reading on page 752 in your TBS Sunday School Bibles. If you have not already read these readings, I'd recommend that you pause the video now and go and read them. So you may remember that last week we looked at some events that happened to Jeremiah during the reign of King Josiah in Judah. Now this week we're going to have a broader look at what was happening to the countries around about Judah during this time. So on this map we can see 4 different countries that are coloured in. In red we can see the country of Judah, and the capital city is Jerusalem. Above them, in the dark grey, is a large empire called the Assyrian Empire. The capital of this empire was a city called Nineveh. So our first heading is 2 messages to Nineveh. You may remember the story of Jonah. In around 760 BC, God sent Jonah to the city of Nineveh. Jonah preached against Nineveh and warned them that because of their sin, God was going to destroy the city. However, the people at Nineveh at this time repented, and they turned from their sin, and because of this, God did not destroy the city. If we move on around 100 years from the time of Jonah, there was another prophet, a man called Nahum. By this time, in 660 BC, all the people that were alive during the time of Jonah had died, and the people that now lived in Nineveh had gone back to their sins. So God told Nahum once again to preach against Nineveh. And Nahum once again warned that the city would be destroyed because of their sin. In Nahum chapter 2 and verse 6, he warns that the gates of the rivers shall be opened, and the palace shall be dissolved. This time the people did not repent in Nineveh. Now around 30 years after Nahum prophesied, we get to the year 626 BC. This is the year from where our map is taken. A year before, a man called Nabopolassar had just become king of Babylon. We can see Babylon in the bottom right in orange on our map. Now at this time, Nineveh was the capital of Assyria, which was the most powerful empire in the world. However, Nabopolassar decided to start invading some of the cities in Assyria. He marched up towards Nineveh and conquered many cities on the way. By 612 BC, he had finally got to the city of Nineveh. Now our second heading is the Battle of Nineveh. When Nabopolassar got to Nineveh, he had 2 options on how to destroy the city. The first option was nice and quick, but it involved breaking down the walls and getting inside the city of Nineveh. The second option would be to lay what's called a siege around the city. And this would be to stop any food or water getting into the city so the people would starve, and this could take a long time. However, there was a problem. If we look on this picture of Nineveh, we can see that Nineveh was surrounded by 2 sets of walls. The wall on the outside was 10 metres tall and 15 metres thick. Nabopolassar knew it was almost impossible to break down these walls, so instead he started by setting up a siege around the city. However, there was a problem with this as well. If we look on the picture again, we can see that there's a river that flows into Nineveh. This meant that Nabopolassar could not stop water getting into the city. Also, the king of Nineveh had already prepared lots of food in case of a siege, so Nineveh could survive for many years without needing more food to come into the city. This meant a siege would likely take a very long time. While the siege was going on, there was a lot of rain, and this meant that the river that went into the city of Nineveh flooded. The flooded river crashed into the walls of Nineveh and knocked them down. You may remember the prophecy that Nahum had said. Nahum had warned that the gates of the river shall be opened, and just like he had prophesied, the rivers had been opened and they'd crashed into the walls and knocked them down. This allowed Nabopolassar to take his Babylonian army into the city. When the king of Nineveh saw this, he realized that he would likely be caught and tortured by the Babylonians before being killed. So instead, he decided to set fire to the palace with himself inside. Again, like Nahum said, in his prophecy, Nahum said that the palace shall be dissolved. And just like Nahum had said, Nineveh was destroyed. The gates of the river had opened, and the palace had been dissolved. However, some of the people in Assyria managed to escape. They ran away and they ended up in a place called Carchemish, which we can see on the map. Our next heading is the Battle of Carchemish. 3 years later, Nabopolassar also got Carchemish. In 609 BC, Nabopolassar got to Carchemish. The Assyrians sent to the king of Egypt a man called Pharaoh Necho to come and help them fight against the Babylonians. Pharaoh Necho agreed to come and came up to fight against the Babylonians with the Assyrians. On the way, as he went past Judah, he fought against King Josiah at Megiddo, and he killed King Josiah. We learnt about this last week. Once he got to Carchemish, he joined with Assyria and they fought against Babylon. They managed to stop Babylon, and King Nabopolassar returned back home to Babylon. However, his son, a man called Nebuchadnezzar, took control of the army. Nebuchadnezzar went back in a few years and rebuilt his army, and in 605 BC he got back to Carchemish again. We read about this battle of Carchemish in Jeremiah chapter 46. Once again, the king of Assyria asked the Pharaoh Necho to come and help from Egypt, and Pharaoh Necho came and helped him. And we read about this battle from the point of view of the Egyptians. So in verse 3 and 4 in Jeremiah 46, we read the Egyptians being told to prepare for battle. We see the horsemen, that's the soldiers that would have been in chariots or on horses, being told to put their harnesses on the horse, get the horse ready. And then they get told to put their helmets on and to pick up their spears to get ready for battle. However, in verse 5, we see that they're dismayed. Why are they dismayed? It is because very soon after the battle starting, the Egyptians realise they are losing the battle. So they start running away. And we see that even the mighty men, that's the strongest people in the Egyptian army, were running away. But in verse 6, we see that a lot of those that ran away would be caught. It says in verse 6 that those that run away would stumble and fall, and then likely they'd be killed by the chasing Babylonians. In this battle, Babylon managed to destroy Assyria and also completely defeated Egypt. Now our fourth heading is the lessons for Judah. Around this time, God sent Jeremiah to a potter's house to learn an important lesson. We read about this in Jeremiah chapter 18. In the video, you can see a potter at work. He is using clay to make a pot. He is using something called a wheel, which he spins around. And as he spins around using his hands, he can shape the clay into the shape of a pot. Jeremiah watched the potter do this. But in verse 4, it tells us that Jeremiah noticed something. The vessel, the pot that was made, was marred. This means it was damaged and it wasn't quite made right. Because of this, the potter put the clay back into a lump and he started again. God told the people of Judah that they are like the clay and that God is like the potter. God can decide which, like the potter, could see that vessel and he could break it down again and start again. So God could decide which nations he would build up and which ones he would destroy. We saw that Babylon had massively expanded. They had been built up, but the nation of Assyria had been destroyed. However, in verse 8, God says that if the nation which he has said will be destroyed repents from their evil, they will not be destroyed. Like when Jonah went to Nineveh, and the people of Nineveh repented, and it was not destroyed. However, if they do not repent, then they will be destroyed, as happened when Nahum prophesied that they would be destroyed. Now in verse 11, this message becomes very personal to the people of Judah. God tells the people of Judah that he has framed evil against them. God has got a method to destroy them already. We read before already in the previous lessons about how Judah would be destroyed by an army from the north. However, God pleads with the people of Judah. He tells them to repent of their sin, to turn from their evil way, and to turn back to God. And if they do so, God will not destroy them. Now, the people of Judah in this, they're a bit like us. We have done sin, we have done evil against God. And God has said that he will destroy all those that sin against him. He has prepared a place called hell for all those that sin against him. However, he pleads with us, like he did with the people of Judah, that if we repent from our sin and turn to him, that he will not destroy us in hell. Now, the people in Judah, they gave a very sad answer to this. The people in Judah said, there is no hope. They had been given a message of hope, how they could be saved from their whole nation being destroyed, and yet they said there is no hope. Why did they say there is no hope? Well, it's because in verse 12 we see that they said, we will do everyone according to the imagination of his heart. In verse 12 they are saying that we don't want to follow God's laws, we don't want to repent, we don't want to obey God. And because of this they say there is no hope. There's no hope for them. And if you do not repent, if you do not turn away from your sin, there is no hope for you either. Well, we must not be like the people of Judah. The people of Judah could see what had happened to the Assyrians. The Assyrians had been told that they'd be destroyed, and they had not listened to the Nahum. And because of this, they had been destroyed. We have been warned in the Bible that unless we repent, we will be destroyed and will end up in hell. For the Assyrians, their time to repent ran out, and one day the time for us to repent will run out. We don't know when that will be, but the Bible tells us in Isaiah, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. We must seek the Lord now, before it is too late.